everyone, I am here today with a book review for you, and this is Den of Shadows by Christopher Byford, and I've received a copy of this book from the publisher via NetGalley in return for an honest review, and I gave it 1 star, but I want to say now that I didn't actually finish this book. I DNF'd it at 65%, although I only read properly up to 50% and skim read that last 15. Even though I didn't finish this book, I feel like I read enough to get a feel for the actual book itself and to be able to provide at least some sort of review in response and in return for getting this book. Basically, this is a fantasy novel that I thought was going to be a really nice, quick, easy read. It's supposed to have a Western feel to it, which I got. That is one thing I can say that the marketing was correct with. I got that. And the description definitely had me sort of eager to read it. The story follows a train that has been kitted out to be like some ridiculous, insane gambling den, where all sorts of characters come on and off, and the train gets into financial troubles, and you just learn more about everything going on that way. I thought it was going to have some really great, interesting, fantastical elements, some really interesting characters, and it was actually also marketed as being for fans of the likes of the Night Circus and Caraval. So going on the description, I, as I said, was really eager to read this book. I don't feel like the description, the marketing and everything else did this book justice though. As instead of getting what I just described, I feel like I just got a really slow, really boring lump of text. My Kindle actually said it was going to take me something like 7 or 8 hours to read, which I thought was rather odd for a book that was prescribed as being a quick read, and on Goodreads it even said it was only like 176 pages, not even 200, 176 pages. So I was like, how on earth does that balance out? I'm not a ridiculously slow reader, I'm not like the fastest reader by any means, but I read at a sort of normal pace, so I was like, what on earth? So I had a look on other people's Goodreads reviews and saw that some people had said that it was a nice, fast, quick, easy read. Meanwhile, many others had had the same experience as I was doing, and I was like, well, are we getting 2 different books or something here? Like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I struggle to DNF books. I normally force myself through a book no matter what. There's usually something I can pull myself through with, whether it be an individual character or just something interesting within the book itself, but there was nothing with this. I could find no redeeming qualities in this. I don't want this to turn into some sort of hateful rant of a book, because that's just disrespectful. This book just wasn't for me, but I do want to go into, briefly at the very least, my issues with this book so that you can take an educated decision on whether you actually want to give this book a go for yourself or not. So first of all, the characters. I didn't like any of them. I couldn't even tell you whether they felt real or not, because I just found them so utterly boring, utterly hateful. There was just nothing redeeming about them, nothing even remotely interesting, nothing to make you think, oh, I like you, I want to know more about you. I was just like, ugh. So without that attachment, that was already something that was making it easier for me to put this book down than I'd probably normally find it. Then throw into the fact of, I wasn't necessarily expecting a fast-paced book, but I was expecting, you know, a sort of fantasy feel to it, and like intriguing characters and interesting situations within the gambling den. And I feel like I barely got this. There was 1 or 2 scenes where I was like, woo! And the rest I was like, it was just really dull. I'm not even sure whether you could describe it as info dumpy. It was all just really slow, like nothing was happening. I could have probably just skipped 20 pages and it wouldn't have even mattered. I honestly I felt no pull towards the writing. It just wasn't my cup of tea. There was nothing to pull me in at all. I feel like I tried really hard to read this book and my brain just went and chucked the word straight back out, because it was just nothingness. I can't tell you an awful lot about what I remember from actually reading it, because my brain's just like, no, we're not getting anything from this, so we're not keeping any of it either. Like, I feel really let down by this book more than anything. The description sold it as something totally different, and maybe that would be okay if the end result would still been my cup of tea, but this book just wasn't my cup of tea, sadly. So I'm going to conclude this review here. As I said, I don't want to totally slate this book or the author because I feel like it was just let down in how it was marketed, perhaps. So if you like the sound of the book, give it a go. You might like it. At least then you'll know what you're getting yourself into. A very slow-paced fantasy book where, from what I learned, the first 50% nothing really happens. But maybe it picked up from there. As I said, I didn't finish it from there. I don't know. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this review. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me just there if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me. And I will see you tomorrow with a very belated book haul. Bye bye!